Hello, 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 and welcome back to our Finding Better podcast. My name is John Suzuki, and I am your host. And thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for sharing this podcast with others because we're out there just trying to make the world better and help folks live better lives. My guest today is Kim Sorrelle. You have seen Kim. I bring her back every month because she is an amazing person with an amazing message on love. And you've heard me say this over and over again that it's all about love. It's all about love. Everything that we and that's hard for some people to understand. But if we keep chipping at it, Kim, if we just keep chipping away at it, hopefully some things will resonate. We're going to talk today about love does not boast. Now, one thing I just want to share with you is that one thing that I have learned in my life is that humility is born of strength and love, and ego is born of weakness and fear. And we're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about love does not boast, and it's not. And we're going to talk about what that means because it is so deep. Every time, Kim, I talk with you, and we have 12 of these things that we want to talk about. Love is kind, love is patient, all those different kinds of things. Every time I talk with you, I learn something new as we go into some level of depth. And so, Kim, welcome back to Finding Better.
Oh my gosh, it is a bright light in my day, in my week, in my month. So thank you so much for having
Likewise, likewise. It's so amazing. So yeah, so as we get into this, if you would just kind of give a quick synopsis about your experience in Haiti to get people who haven't heard you before caught up with your experience.
Yeah, well, love is like you say, I mean, it's everything. And love, it is love that can change the world, and it is love that makes the world go round, and love is universal, and yet it seems to be this mystery. Like you put 12 people in a room and you get 12 different answers
That's
when you say
right.
what is
That's
love,
right.
right?
That's right.
And so I tried to research it, and nobody really had done a super deep dive in love, it seemed. So I figured I would. So I took a year and a little more than a year. And most of the time I was in Haiti doing it and figuring out the true meaning of love.
And this was in Haiti after they had their big earthquake several years ago.
Right.
And somehow, I mean, that of itself is a story. So, folks, if you want to hear the detailed version, a little bit more of a detailed version, go back to the episode, the first episode that Kim and I did together, because it's just amazing. I mean, you could have just stayed home and done the work that you were doing, but you chose to go to one of the poorest nations in the world that had just experienced a massive, massive earthquake, and it was there that you sought to learn. And that of itself is just such a tribute to you, and makes me so honored to be able to have you as a guest on my podcast. So let's talk about love does not boast. What do you mean by that?
Well, you think of that word and already it doesn't sound good,
Right.
right? Boast, so boastful. You don't want to be boastful, whatever. But what I found out is that you put love in front of anything, in front of any word, any phrase, it changes the meaning. So we all know what boast is, but love that doesn't boast is so clear cut. And when I went into figuring it out, I wasn't sure what it really meant, but it
Hmm.
is it is so clear. And what it means is that when you boast in a way that it affects other people, right? So, like, you might think of boasting as, oh, shoot, I'm showing off pictures of my grandkids, right? Because you have the grandbabies, you want to show the pictures.
Right.
When it hurts somebody else or when it elevates you above somebody else, that's when it's bad. That's when it's bad. So, love just does not do that, does not elevate you above anybody ever. We are all and the same playing field. We all have our feet on the same ground. And love recognizes that we are all the same. No one better, no one worse than anybody else.
Boy, oh boy, there's a lot to unwind in what you just said. Right. I mean, there really is because, when you say love does not, it does. It elevates. And a lot of times we don't know that that's happening. But when we're boasting, we're elevating ourselves above others. We're basically, and other people often read it as, who do you think you are? What are you saying? Right? And so that was probably the one thing that really stood out to me. Um, and I'm gonna read part of your book, just a real quick thing. As soon as you are stronger, smarter, or prettier than the other person, as soon as you are stronger, smarter, or prettier, the other person is weaker, dumber, and homelier. It puts you on a pedestal above the crowd, above the one. How can that be love? And that is so, so true. And so there was a story, there was an experience that you had in Haiti, where you learned that lesson. Can you share what that story
Sure.
was?
Yeah, so this friend of mine, this Haitian friend of mine, Leslie, has a school slash orphanage for a lot of kids who just have no place to live otherwise, and could not go to school otherwise in Haiti. And I have a son who runs everything that we do in the Dominican Republic. And so we have a construction crew over there. We decided to bring a few of them over to Haiti to help build after the earthquake when everything
Mm-hmm.
crumbled, to help rebuild. We built some dorms and we were building a place where kids could actually eat without the birds crapping in their food, quite frankly, just eat outside but undercover. And so a
I'm
place
sorry. I'm
to
sorry. I'm
meet.
sorry to laugh, by the way. I'm sorry to laugh because that's a serious thing. I mean, who wants to have bird crap in your lunch, as you're
Right.
eating lunch? And so, I mean, you talk about the basics of life, right?
Yeah.
Just giving
Yeah,
them
absolutely.
shelter, just giving them cover over where they eat,
Right.
right? Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So my son has done a ton of building. We've done a ton of construction, building schools and hospital clinics and all kinds of things in the Dominican Republic. And so he's experienced and he brought his foreman and we were going to build at Leslie's place at Children of Jesus Orphanage. And so we get everything set up and we get started. We got the all the tools that we needed, the rebar and all of that kind of stuff. And we start building. And Leslie came over. Leslie speaks French and Creole. My son speaks Spanish and English. I speak English, maybe some pig Latin, I don't know. And so we're trying to translate between everything. And there was another pastor there who helped to translate. So
Oh
everything's
boy.
going from Creole to Spanish to English and then back again and whatever. But Leslie came over and told us we were using too much rebar because in Haiti, money is so precious. They build a different way because that's what they know, right?
Hmm.
People build the way they know.
Right.
And so my son is convinced the way we do it in Dominican Republic is the way. Well, in Haiti, things are done a little differently. And he's seeing dollar signs and dollar signs, all this money going out the door because we're using too much rebar. We're making the columns too thick. We're doing everything wrong. And so this argument started, and I'm trying to figure out what they're saying. And my son is saying, well, I know construction. This is what we do, and this is what we use, and this is what we need. And Leslie's saying, no, this is too much money and we're going back and forth. It's getting heated. And then all of a sudden, out of the blue, Leslie says, I'm an engineer. And we all just shut up because he is this professionally trained engineer who has been building for his adult life. And
Hmm.
we're trying to tell him that he's doing it wrong because we think because this is the way we do it in the DR, that that's the way it should be done worldwide.
So
And
everybody is trying to tell your son, and you don't. I'm sure the words you don't know what you're talking about, and we know better than you do. Who the heck are you? And your son evidently was just kind of taking it and just
oh, he was pretty
being,
adamant. Yeah, yeah. I
yeah.
mean, he had his chest out. There was a little bit of a
Okay.
cockfight going on,
Okay.
right?
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
All
and
right.
there's this underlying thing too, John, between Haitians and Dominicans, that there is a prejudice there. And
Oh,
so that really kind of, my son is Dominican, and that I think
okay.
came into
Got it.
play as well.
Yeah.
And that's dangerous and bad, and that sure isn't love.
Yeah.
And so just kind of the combined forces of I know better than you do, I'm smarter than you are, I'm stronger than you
It
are.
becomes like you said, it becomes a cockfight.
Right,
It
right.
just starts escalating, right?
Yep.
So what happened when your son said, "I'm an engineer"?
When Leslie said I'm an engineer.
Oh, when Leslie said
Yeah.
he was an engineer. Okay, got it,
Yeah.
got it.
Yeah. Then we all shut up because
Yeah.
it
Okay.
was drop a pin and hear a moment because we didn't realize how much knowledge he had. And it changed everything. Everybody got immediately humbled. My son is not an engineer. Leslie is an engineer, went to college for this, for goodness sake. And so it changed the conversation entirely. And it changed everything for me when it comes to learning about love that does not boast. Because in that moment, my son was boasting and I
Yeah.
was supporting him
Yeah.
because, yeah, this is the way we
Yeah.
build, right? And so that wasn't good. But then to realize what we were doing, and I immediately thought about conversations that I've had in the past where
No
I've
kidding.
started to talk about something. I don't know if you've ever been in this situation, but you have some knowledge about something and you start to talk to somebody about it. And then into the conversation, you find out they're the world's leading expert on the subject. Right?
Oops.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And you're, kind of bragging about your knowledge
Yeah.
and having your opinion, right? That
Yeah.
your opinion is
Yeah.
the right
Yeah.
opinion. And
That's right. That's
and
right.
yeah, that's not love.
You speak of opinions, and you've heard me say this, that one of the reasons why um, I started this podcast is because a friend of mine once said, "John, I could care less about your opinion." A very good friend of mine. And I
Yeah.
said, "Dude, that's pretty rude." He goes, "No, listen, I could care less about your opinion, but I'll listen to your experiences all day long."
Mm.
And this is what this podcast is about. It's about sharing. And that is that. And so everybody just shut up, and then what happened? Once everybody kind of all the feathers kind of
Yes.
flattened out,
Yeah.
and everybody, yeah. What happened? I can imagine everybody got to work.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. And then when everything changed, the
Yeah.
whole attitude of everybody changed, everything about it changed. And we worked alongside Leslie's crew. So my Dominican son and the guys he brought over from the DR, working side by side with these guys from Haiti, who
Which
this
of
is what
itself is a
they
big
do.
deal.
Right, which in
Yeah.
itself is
Yeah.
gigantic,
Yeah.
does not happen very often. And
That's
so,
amazing.
yes, so by the end of the week, we had not only this beautiful building that will withstand earthquakes, where the kids can eat inside, and the way it was constructed, there's a almost a constant breeze that goes through, and Haiti is so hot.
Yeah.
And so it's this cooler room that they can go into. They have their meals there, they have meetings there, they do
That's
all kinds
amazing.
of things in that room, and it's beautiful. But the biggest thing that happened is by the end of the week, everybody loved each other. And the Haitians learned from the Dominicans learned from the Haitians, and we were all in this different place, and we were all unified, one people instead of people with labels.
Yeah, that is amazing. And another thing that I love about it is, you brought people together. You brought your son from the Dominican Republic over the border into Haiti, and you were kind of an enabler to make that happen. And I love that. And of course, you factor in the other things that we've talked about right now, up to now, of love is patient, patience is love, love is kindness, kindness is love. And I'm sure all of that factored into that experience, which is just amazing. One of the things that strikes me when I think about love does not boast, and elevating yourself. And you just in our conversation just before we launched into this podcast episode, you mentioned that you went to Japan and you traveled
Mhm.
to Japan and for a couple of weeks. One of the things, there was a news show that talked about um, how it's tough for Japanese folks because so many Americans are going to Japan because of the exchange rates. Um, and so many of us behave so badly. And you can as we're talking, I can hear these words. Do you know who I am? Right? I mean, do
Right.
you know who I am? Folks, if you ever say those words, do you know who I am? Just understand, and maybe you're intending to do it, but you are elevating yourself above that other person, and you are doing that on purpose. And so stuff like that, I really learned from your experiences, of what that means. Love does not boast.
Yeah, yeah, it's so true. I think there's so many things, John, that
Yeah,
are part of natural everyday life for people that are elevating, right? That are
yeah.
making you better. And it could be that you deserve a better place in line, or somehow you deserve a better place at the table, or your political party is better than the other political party, or what you do for a living is better than what other people do for a living. And the truth is, it takes us all. It takes all of us. And and we are all in this together. Well, we're all
We
in
are
this thing
all in this
together. And the
together.
more we can recognize that and recognize the value in every single person that walks on this planet, no matter where they are, what they're doing in life, where they live, but the absolute incredible value of every person.
Every single person.
That's when love can flow.
That's
That's
right.
when there is love.
And we live in such a world, we live in a world with so much fear and so much insecurity and so much, in a lot of cases, hate, right? And we talked last time a little bit about social media, right? When we talked about love does not envy. Well, social media is all about envy and boasting, right? I mean, on
Right.
the one hand, we talked about the envy, which is the receiving side, but this time we're talking about boast, which is the delivery side. I was going to say giving, but I didn't want to say giving because giving's a good word, right? But right, I mean, I tell people all the time, listen, don't buy into all this stuff. I mean, people are out there, showing themselves. Look how great I am. Look how wonderful I am. Look how rich I am. Look what an amazing person I am. And so many people get caught up in thinking that that's the real world, and it's not. 99% of the time, it's not. And and so for those folks who do get caught up in that stuff, all I say is just understand what you're doing. Just I don't tell them to do anything, but to understand what's going on. And to this other side of the boasting side, understand what you're doing. Understand what you're doing, because you can have such an impact on people. It's amazing.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And yeah, when it comes to social media, so when it comes to anything, a conversation with anybody, you go to a class reunion, right? And oh, so what are you up to? Whatever. Well, so there's this line, right? Where it's like, oh, so what are you up to? And oh gosh, I got kids, I got grandkids. That's fine.
Right.
Share the
Exactly.
things.
Exactly.
It's when you share in such a way that you diminish the person that you're talking to.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
when it's not love. That's when it's
Yes.
dangerous.
That's right. That is so well said. And I want to make I'm going to try to be as articulate as I can. It's my whole podcast is about finding better and making yourself better and living a better life. It is not about making yourself better than others. I told my kids, growing up, many times, and they got this ingrained in their brain, there are two ways of making yourself better than somebody else. One is to be better. One is to work hard and to learn and to add value to your life and become more valuable. The other is to make someone look worse than you. One is to build yourself. The other is to make someone look less than you. That is not love, right? I mean, we're here because we want to share experiences because, success leaves clues, right? And, sometimes the best way to be successful is to copy success. And that's what we want to do. We want to make the world better. We want to make you better, my audience better. And that's how we make the world better. Better you lifts the world. And so I just wanted to clarify that because better is not a bad thing. It's a bad thing if you use it uh, at the detriment of other people,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
Yeah,
that is the line right there, right?
yeah,
And it's interesting to me too, John, that you can have the same conversation with two different people, and and one of the conversations can be boastful and not loving. And that conversation, you might be talking about business. Like in my family, we're all self-employed, type A, crazy people, right? And so we get together and we talk about business. We talk about business, and there's no better than. There's no, well, you're doing it better than I'm doing it. It's, hey, I can help you with that. Hey, are you doing this? What's going on? But some people that you talk to who aren't doing what you're doing, and you talk about what you're doing, and anytime you make somebody feel worse, like,
yeah,
oh my gosh, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And the other person is thinking, what am I doing? Or, what about is what I'm doing valid, or is what I'm doing important? That is the line. And
yeah,
it seems complicated, but it sure isn't, because you know how you feel, because it's how you're saying it. It's what's in your heart when you're saying it. If you're just talking about business, or you're just talking about your family, then you're just talking about your family. But if you're talking about it in such a way that in your heart you're standing a little bit higher on your tiptoes, your chest is pumped up there a little bit more, and that you're telling whoever you're with that you're a little bit better than they are, that is
yeah,
not love.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's being boastful. That's
That's
being
being
boastful.
boastful.
And
Mhm.
I started off saying that humility is born of strength and love. And I'll tell you something, the most loving people I know and the strongest people I know are the most humble people I know. And it just works that way, right? And so check your ego. Check your ego because and I think of very famous people. In fact, some of the richest people in the world. You look at these, and I'm not, this is not being critical. This is just kind of my perspective of things. But these guys who own 100 million, 200 million, 300 million dollar yachts, why? Right? And it's like, well, you know why? Because they want to be bigger than everybody else. Oh, why? Right? Where's the humility in that? And so then you go, well, those people are the richest people in the world. What do they have to be fearful of? A lot, a
Mhm.
lot. And I think that the thing that people are most fearful of is loss of love. I
Mhm.
think I think that's a big, big part of what's going on. And so you and I, and we've talked about this before too, Kim. We certainly know our political leaders aren't going to bring us together. And and that's why I love, love, love what you're doing, is because you're showing people what love means. You're teaching people from your perspective, right? And
Mhm.
from your experience what it means. And I'm out there trying to help people live better lives. And you know, we're taking it from the bottom up.
Mhm.
And if we can
Right.
lift one person, we're lifting the world. And I think it's just so wonderful. So
Yeah.
yeah. So Kim, thank you for this. Your insights and your experiences, I'm always learning from you. And I always tell people, to surround yourself with people who are better than you are, and because they make you better. And but at the same time, if you want to surround yourself with people who are better than you have to become those people too. It's a two-way street, and I can tell you, you have made me so much better in so many ways. So thank you for that.
Well, that's so sweet. John, just a real quick, I appreciate so much what you're doing, and I know that you're helping people, and everybody should be on your podcast or listen to your podcast, have it as a favorite. And here we're in this, you mentioned political, right? Like we're in this climate right now with an election coming up, and he's this and
Hmm.
he's that and whatever. And I just want to warn people that don't let your political party be who you are.
Yes.
Don't let somebody else's political party be who they are. But most importantly, it's you, right? I mean, we're only in control of ourselves. So don't be defined by how you're going to vote in November.
Right.
Be defined as the person that you are, and then vote how you want to vote. But don't blanketly look at everyone who's voting for somebody else as evil or bad or not as smart as you, not as good as you. Just show love and vote for who you want to vote for.
And that kind of says it all, doesn't it? Right? I mean, it really, really does. And because if there's one top line, if there's a single top line thing that is contrary to what you are trying to teach us, it's our politics, right? It's our politics. I mean, Democrats and Republicans, give me a break, folks. I mean, it's just, it is turned into such a hateful and fearful thing that let's bring a little more love into it, folks. Don't define yourself and don't define other. That is so well said. I'm not going to even repeat it. And so, but yeah, thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing that because absent that understanding of what could happen, it very well could happen. And I don't want it to happen to anybody listening. Be patient, be kind, don't be boastful, and life will be good. And just bring a little bit more love into the conversation. That's all, you know. So anyway,
It's all about love.
it's all about love. That's
Uh-huh.
exactly right. All right, Kim. So how do people reach you? How do people get more information about you and your book and what you do?
Yeah, well, I'm literally the only Kim Sorrelle spelled my way in the entire world, as you know, John, um, because there are way too many letters, two R's, two E's, two L's, Sorrelle. So kimsorrelle.com. I'm on social media, hopefully not boasting on social media. All
Yeah,
right.
me too. Me too.
Okay. Yeah.
Exactly.
But so I'm easy to find. Love is the name of the book where all the stories are and the truths that I found out about love. And I love to connect with people. So reach out and I'm here.
Wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Kim, thank you again. Folks, I have Kim coming back every month. And I think it's the last Tuesday of every month is this episode or these episodes. And it's one of the greatest joys of every month. is
For me
is
too.
talking with you again. So, all right, Kim. Well, listen, thank you again. Thank you for being here. I love you. I love what you're doing. Everybody, please be sure to share this. Please be sure to share this. We're kind of on a roll, and we're having a great time. And I love you. God bless you. We'll see you next time. Bye.